All right, so I've talked about removing darts from the top of the form, and now I'm going to remove a single pointed dart from the bottom of the form. So this is an oil cruet form that I threw on the wheel, and here's an example of one finished, and you can see the seam lines, one here and one on this other side. And these are single pointed darts that come from the bottom almost up to the center of the form. So when I threw this form, I threw it with a definite shift in direction. So this angle comes out and then the dome comes back in. And that gives me guidance when I go to cut my dart form, and you'll see why in a minute. But what I'm doing is I'm cutting, again, this triangle. So I'm going to start from the bottom and draw my middle line, my center line. And then from the center line to this widest part, I'm going to draw a really narrow triangle like this. Then from this point to the bottom edge, I'm going to widen that triangle slightly. So you'll see that this now changes direction in the angle of the dart as well. Okay? I'm going to do the same thing to the other side, just mapping out my cut. And it's good to always draw the lines first before you cut in to your form, because you can always change it at this step if you don't quite like what you've drawn. So now I'm ready to cut out these dart shapes. So again, the angle of my blade is going to stay in the same direction on either side so that I'm making that lap joint. I should mention too that I've let this set up about to the stage that it would be right out of the bag, or right out of your mixer if you make clay, so that it's still got some flexibility and it won't crack very much when I fold this together, but it's got enough solidity that it can hold its form. Same thing to the other side. Now I'm going to slip and score. Okay, now it's time for me to close this form together. Do one side first, then the other. Okay, so there's the first kind of join. And one thing that happens when I alter this form is the sides, or the area where I cut the dart out, they're going to lift a little bit higher than the rest of the form. So in order to make this flat again, I'm going to have to remove just a little bit of this with my X-Acto blade when this piece is at the leather hard stage. But for right now, I just want to make sure that these seams are compressed together. And then I'm going to let it set up. Again, compressing from the inside and the outside at the same time. Taking my rubber tip tool, compressing that seam. So a lot of times the tendency is to want to catlick this at this stage, meaning going over and over and over again to kind of smooth it out. And that often is better left to a later stage of the process, like when it's leather hard. So right now I'm just trying to get that seam together, and that's enough kind of fussing with this. And I can really clean up the seam and compress the seam more at a later stage. But that is the basic form of the oil cruet.